What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another double upload? What? Yes, guys, we are going crazy from now on, so don't forget to leave a like, don't forget to subscribe. We're just gonna jump right into it, people. What did we think of the episode? I'm just kidding. I know we all loved it. I did, you did, and later in the video, we will be going over everyone's thoughts and feelings for the brand new episode of Doctor Who. Hooray. You guys seem to love these community reactions. I seem to love making them, and thank the Lord. Count your blessings, folks, because it could all go in the blink of an eye. Speaking of which, we got news, folks. Hooray, news, Doctor Who news. This is a news video, people. I'm a news channel now. Just kidding, we don't got shit. But the conversation has arisen, so that's almost news. I've noticed you guys talking about this in the comment section down below, and I don't know why I'm being vague about this. The question is in the title, folks, so I leave it all to you. Is Ncuti Gatwa regenerating at the end of this season? Gasp sound effect. Contain yourselves, people. But this rumor has been going around for quite a while now. Basically, if you want the long and short of it, Disney are more than likely considering leaving the show. But regardless of that fact, new Doctor Who will not start filming at the very earliest at the end of next year. So poor Ncuti Gatwa, up-and-comer A-list celebrity, if he contracts for Doctor Who, he's basically gonna have to turn down work for the next 2 to 3 years. A couple of months ago now, we heard the news that reshoots were happening for Doctor Who Season 2, which is crazy because the rest of this season was filmed about 2 years ago, so doing reshoots this recent is pretty wild. As you can guess, the rumor is that these reshoots were a surprise regeneration for the end of season 2. Ncuti Gatwa's leaving, and etc. Now, while being honest, my hopes and dreams for the future of Doctor Who are kind of low right now. I'm gonna go over why I don't actually think this is the case. And if you've been watching my other videos, you know that this isn't cope or something. I just genuinely don't think this is happening. So naturally, I'm gonna clickbait it. Now, this isn't clickbait. This is a genuine discussion and disproving, in my opinion. So if you want to know my genuine thoughts on what's gonna happen next with Doctor Who, realistically, I think they'll do specials, kind of like Wallace and Gromit, or what they did with Gavin and Stacey. Doctor Who still does well at Christmas, so maybe they'll allow another special in November or Easter or something, or I don't know. I think that is the form that Doctor Who will take from now on, which is, yeah, you know, it's pretty good. Ideal? No, but I've talked about this before. If you want my full bead on the situation, I mean, I've gone over it in detail in very long videos, so check them out. But what about the regeneration? Will Ncuti Gatwa, the 15th Doctor TM, regenerate at the end of the Reality War, airing in cinemas at 6 p.m? 6 p.m, thank the fucking Lord! Finally, a reasonable time for Doctor Who. It only took until the very end. By the way, guys, notice the massive uptick in viewers when this happens, by the way. But anyway, it's gonna be brilliant, and immediately my hype for the finale has gone up about 6,000%. I don't know if I'm gonna watch it in cinemas because I kind of want to record my reaction, but maybe. I'll ask you guys, should I watch it in the cinema, or should I record my reaction? Or both? Anyway, nah, I don't think he's regenerating. And here's why. Number one, they would have marketed this. I know the whole point, apparently, is that they're doing a surprise regeneration, but why the fuck would they do that? What's the point if no one's watching? They want people to watch, okay? This is the same reason why Daleks obviously weren't in the robot revolution. If they were, they would be front and center of all the marketing. They would want you to know so that you'd tune in. That's marketing 101. Even the giggle had regeneration plastered all over everything, because of course you do, that's how things work. So no, they wouldn't do a surprise regeneration unless they were very stupid, but you know, who knows, maybe they'll do it. Anyway, number two, the reshoots were for the robot revolution. This is a thing that not many people are paying attention towards. These reshoots were actually done for episode 1. The house they were filming in, I probably can't find images, but I remember when the reshoots were happening, images came out of the house that they were filming in. Ncuti Gatwa wasn't on set because what they were filming, the inside of the house, if you don't know, behind the scenes tidbit, originally Belinda did not have housemates, flatmates. It was not a shared house, it was just Belinda's house on her own. So all of the stuff with flatmates and all of that stuff, that was what was done later, months afterwards, in reshoots. This was done because Russell T Davies thought it was unrealistic for someone in London to own a house, which, true, that is true, good decision. This is why I love you, buddy. So in short, those reshoots were not for the Regeneration. And number 3, numero tres. The show is in a pretty precarious spot at the moment, so if they are serious about at least trying to secure a future more series, why the fuck would they end on an open-ended note with no star? The only reason they do that is unless they're really serious about no more Doctor Who, which I mean, who knows, maybe. This is a pretty weird topic for me because if you guys don't remember, I said this around the 60th anniversary. My assumption was that Ncuti Gatwa was only doing 2 series. When they announced it, that was the wording that it seemed to be. They foreshadowed a Regeneration last year, but even before all of the stuff came out with series 14, they were always talking about just 2 series, just 2 series, 2 series with Ncuti Gatwa, 2 series with Ncuti Gatwa. I don't know, I always assumed that just meant he was sticking on for 2 series and then he'd leave at the end. That was always my assumption, baseline. But as time went on, I realized that wasn't going to be the case, and now we're so close. We're, what is it, 4 weeks away from supposed surprise Regeneration? I mean, I feel like they definitely would have made a bigger deal out of it. But do you see why I hate talking about the meta stuff? I mean, just talking about the meta stuff at the moment is completely miserable. Do you guys see now why I didn't like that in last week's episode they had a whole subplot talking about the meta stuff going on at the moment? Do you see why I didn't like that hashtag RIP Doctor Who is now canon to actual Doctor Who, and that it was said at ADR'd in, mind you, it was said in the lowest rated episode in Doctor Who history? Do you see why I don't like that? Do you see why I might have some fundamental problems with that? I feel like a lot of people need to realize that the hashtag RIP Doctor Who movement, it isn't like a quirky little thing, right? Like, that is a genuine movement. The whole purpose, its whole goal is the destruction of the show, right? Like, that's the whole point of the movement. And additionally, the hashtag RIP Doctor Who is meant to catch on. It's meant to be spread. It's meant to show up everywhere to show how popular the sentiment of cancelling the show is. That's the purpose of the hashtag. It's meant to be spread as far and wide everywhere. And I would never have ever said it in any of my videos, except for the fact that it's now canon to the show proper. I mean, do you not see how that is so stupid? Before, in 1989, the qualms that the general audience had with Doctor Who were quality. People used to make fun of the sets and the wobbly sets and the monsters and the acting and all of that, and all of the qualms were on the perceived quality of the show. Nowadays, you cut to 2025, I'm going to be talking about this in like every video from now on, so be ready to hear this point made a billion times. But the qualms that people have now are ideological. They're not quality, they are ideology. The average person, and I genuinely mean the average person, there's a reason why Doctor Who is not mainstream in the UK, or the perceived ideology, should I say, behind Doctor Who. That's just the truth. That is why when Doctor Who does eventually come back and have a revival, the thing that everyone will be insecure about is ideology, because in 2005 the thing everyone was insecure about was quality and the special effects and all of that. If you go back to Confidential, all they're going to be talking about is the special effects of series 1 and the special effects in Doctor Who's never looked so good, etc, etc. When the eventual next wave of Doctor Who comes out, that's the thing that will determine whether or not people come in or not. And I think it's important for me to say it's perceived ideology and perceived quality. It's all subjective and it's all not really marred by actual reality. I mean, the actual reality of what's on the screen or blah blah blah, it doesn't matter because people already have their decisions and it's not like they're going to be watching it to change their mind. Again, I've talked about the meta element of the show many times before, but I hate to say this, folks. I hate to be the one to bring this to everyone's attention, but hashtag RIP Doctor Who right now is more popular than Doctor Who. It is. At this point, it is. Everyone I speak to in real life is under the impression that Doctor Who's best days are behind it. Hashtag RIP Doctor Who videos on YouTube get more views than the show does overnights. That isn't an exaggeration, that's true. And by far are the biggest Doctor Who videos on YouTube. No other Doctor Who videos are getting 1.5 million plus views apart from the hashtag RIP Doctor Who ones. All of Doctor Who's biggest videos over the past 3 years have all been overly negative, have all been a part of the hashtag RIP Doctor Who crowd. And now that the hashtag has weaseled its way into the show proper, I mean, maybe I'm calling it too early, guys. This is meant to be a positive video where I assure you that Ncuti Gatwa isn't regenerating. I don't know. I feel like this series is very likely to be Doctor Who's last for a very long time. Do you see why I don't think that now is the great time for a meta filler episode, you know what I mean? So while I don't think that the reality war will end with a surprise regeneration, things are not looking very good, boss. But anyway, I could be wrong. Maybe Ncuti Gatwa will regenerate. Maybe we will get a season 3. Do I want a season 3? Of course I do. But I think the main takeaway from all of this is the same thing that I've been saying for years now, which is that it doesn't matter how popular something is. What the popular or public sentiment around a show is, I mean, it doesn't fucking matter even the tiniest bit. What matters, and what matters to me, is mine, or in this case, your enjoyment of said something. I don't care what other people thought about it. I care what I think about it. And I've loved this era quite a bit. You guys know me. I've loved basically every episode so far. I'm not a blind lover, although love is blind, but I am more than happy to go along for the ride. And I do genuinely, unironically think that a lot of the episodes, both this series and last, have seriously been very, very good. I don't care. I think that, and I will always think that. And luckily for me, it seems that you all do too. So let's stick it up to the man, or in this case to the mouse, and let's show our appreciation for the show. We love Doctor Who, and we loved this last episode. Well. I made another video on it just today to kind of just show how much I love it, because I really do. And I feel like this video has been a lot of doom and gloom, just in time for next week's episode, No Yards. Really looking forward to this one. The synopsis sounds incredible. Russell, you have really outdone yourself this time. But with all that kind of misery guts dog shit all out of the way, let's dive into the comments section, somehow the least toxic part of this video. Sorry guys, I know it sucks being a Debbie Downer, but when you've got talks of maybe the show ending, maybe the star regenerating, I mean, it's the main topic of conversation I've seen all this week. I feel like it is my duty to report on it, even though I'm kind of just saying the same sad, depressing, pessimistic things I've been saying for the last 3 weeks. Do you remember in the Robot Revolution community reaction where I promised that I wouldn't talk about the meta stuff again? How long did that last? It lasted exactly to the moment in Lux where they said RIP Doctor Who. That's the exact moment where it lasted to. But anyway, what do you guys think? Well, hey, and we're back with the poll, folks. And not just one, we've got 2. I'm doubling up on you guys. First things first, what were your guys' thoughts on The Well? Pretty damn good, with over 66% of people saying amazing, 24% saying good, 7% on alright, and a pretty tiny fraction at 4% saying bad. This is by far the best result of any Ncuti Gatwa episode so far. I think 73 Yards was the best received before this, with 5% saying bad. 66% on amazing is just so impressive. You guys have all seemed to love this one, and that is even more accentuated in my next poll, my follow-up poll, going over which episode of season 2 is the best so far, with a poor 3% saying the Robot Revolution, which is a shame because I really love that episode. 28% of people saying Lux, and 69 nice% of people saying The Well. Just an overwhelming victory there. And so with all that said, let's dive into the comments. Here's a great one from Everwix. This season is honestly off to a great start. I hope they keep this up. I think Ncuti genuinely deserves a good run with his acting. Well, I mean, I feel like he has had a good run, no? The craziest thing about the RTD2 era is that if you look at it holistically, there have been about 2, maybe 3 bad episodes. That sounds like a good run to me. This was a top comment in the video from Grifak Papst. You guys know. If it was a clock face, you die at midnight was one of the coldest lines in the entire show. I've got to agree. I really did love that line. It was kind of the moment in this episode where it all made sense to me and I was just like, I get it. Here's a good one from Blickstar123 who says, what I love was the fact that I am happy that they didn't make the Midnight Entity do the same thing, i.e. copying and learning. I think what they were trying to imply was after the 400,000 years after Midnight, it must have evolved in knowledge, and now instead of stealing voices, it understands people and plays around and moves with them. I am so happy they did this. What an episode. This is definitely a shared sentiment. A lot of people love the fact that it's advancing the mythos. It's not just doing the same thing happening again, because realistically, if it was, I don't think it would be as good. Something which I find weird about this episode is that it has any connections to Midnight in the first place, and I think that a lot of people have that same thought, at least partially, when going through the episode of why even have the connection to Midnight if it's going to be so different. Not in a negative way, just simply in an observation way, and that became a lot clearer with the behind the scenes Doctor Who Unleashed that revealed that the story originally was going to be much different. It was originally going to have the Nigerian gods and they were going to be the antagonists, but Rusty Davies rightfully, in my opinion, thought that that would be a bit tone deaf, inconsiderate of other cultures. I think he's right on that front, and I think it would be a bad idea to bring in real religions and real cultures into admittedly cartoonish, quite literally, pantheon of Doctor Who gods. Disrespectful, that's the word. And so what I'm pretty sure happened is that they had to resort to reworking the entire episode, and I think I can gather from the fact that Rusty Davies was the only writer featured in Unleashed. The other writer, the new writer, didn't get a mention at all, definitely wasn't shown at all, and in interviews kind of gave away the fact that their story wasn't exactly the story that they'd wanted to do. I think what's pretty clear to have happened here is that Rusty Davies pretty much came in and did a rewrite masterclass, as he's known to do, and basically this whole episode was reworked from the ground up by him to include the Midnight entity as a kind of backup plan after the script fell through. This has been known to happen. This happened quite a lot in the RTD1 era, but it is still very interesting that it's happening even now. But anyway, Cardboard Oracle says the fact that the entity was laughing when it came from the well is super spooky. I like how it's not just repeating again, but it's still trying to scare people and turn them against each other. It's almost like it's more powerful now, so it doesn't have to rely on copying people to scare them. Pretty much exactly what I was just saying. This is a great type of sequel story, because of course there were a lot of concerns even before the episode came out, but especially after, from people who said, I don't think Midnight should have been touched. Now, I've never really been that type of person. I've always been pro sequel, except in like really rare cases, but even then, if it's done well. But I definitely understand the sentiment, which is why I think the fact that it is so different doesn't detract from the original at all, is just another really cool thing. And finally, I want to take this comment from Tom from the Discord server, The Goat. He says, okay, this is my favorite episode of the era so far. 10 out of 10, no notes. It was genuinely serious, haunting, well written, and spooky. Proper scary stuff. And it was a sequel to Midnight. That just makes my fan brain happy, man. Yeah, I'd say this beats Boom and Dun Bubble easily, and I also do think it tops 73 yards for me personally. Also, I love how each episode so far has ran into the next. 1, it shows us all 15 and Belinda's relationship, and 2, it gives massive early Classic Who vibes, notably season 4, My Beloved. Finally, I rewatched this episode with my girlfriend, who has somehow never seen Midnight, and still she absolutely loved it, which I think just shows how even this episode is incredibly hype. It doesn't even rely on nostalgia to make it brilliant. This one's a banger, no question. What a brilliant comment. I think it's interesting comparing this episode to Midnight because I almost don't want to. I remember after rewatching this episode, I put on a bit of Midnight just to remind myself of it because I've always loved that episode. And even though I love The Well, I really do. Putting Midnight on right after it, I mean, damn, Midnight is really good. I would say Midnight is quite a bit better, which again, I don't want to compare them. They're very different, but Midnight is just one of those special episodes of Doctor Who where it's like, fucking wow. But on the topic of this era specifically, while I did really enjoy The Well, I really did, I definitely do think Boom, Dot and Bubble, 73 yards, and hell, I'd actually say The Devil's Chord I preferred as well. I just really liked that run of episodes. I rewatched Boom as well this week, and it's just so fucking good. Maybe as time progresses, The Well will also rise up, but Boom was just like, I remember watching that for the first time and being like, holy fuck. My mind was blown, and I rewatch it and I'm like, my mind is still fucking blown. It's brilliant. I love this era, man. And I love this video. So hopefully you all enjoyed it too. Don't forget to subscribe, folks. This is kind of a more low-key video. I'm putting this out in between my other video, which was just tremendous, by the way. I'm really proud of that video. And of course, my review that's going up very soon now. So I'm not really going to go all out on the promo, but I am trying to reach 30,000 subscribers by the end of the season. So I'm going to be going all out. I'm going to be uploading as many videos as is possible. So if you want to be along along for the ride if you want to help support the channel. Just click the button below, man. It doesn't hurt nobody. Of course, as I always say, watching the channel is more than enough. It's more than I could ever possibly ask for. But every single one of you who has helped the channel, subscribed, watched, liked, all of that stuff and more, I can never be grateful enough. And so a special thanks to all of the channel members and everyone on the Patreon. Tom, Cardboard Oracle, Silver Safi, Bonnie, Zoom, Dr. Hoomst, Jack D. Murray, Vorscom, The Instinct, Kai Keller, Renegade Time Lord 97, Manny, Eric, Ren, Poop Criminal, Diego, Theta, Dark Tranquil, Chicky, No More Flippin', Sick Dr. Fan 84, Comfy Glitch X, Harry, Sanyu, Christian Rothfuss, Unreal Dinnerbone, Aidan Davies, Reef Edwards, Space, Amber Knight, KC, Snurly, Connor Bell, Ertle the Turtle, Andrew Locke, Bill Fleming, Hush, Wasabi, Jessica, Kai M, Kylo Wade, Mel, Owen, Toby-Wan Kenobi, Sophie in the Sky, Goldfish, Johnny, Anthony, Kustretch, Just Him, and Teddy Bite. And with all that said, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye bye.